Alright, hey guys, remember CCG back in the video. With this video, I'm bringing a Chimera deck profile, and this is post Duelist Nexus. Let's get started. I run 2 copies of the Big Winged Baphomet. So this card's insane. Upon its normal or special summon, you're able to add a level 4 beast monster and or a Chimera fusion from your deck to your hand. So this card on summon gets you 2 searches. It's an amazing card, definitely a 2 of here. Then we have 3 copies of Mirror Swordsman, or Mirror Sword Knight is it's just an amazing card. It's a 1-card starter for this deck. And it just provides so much value, even when it's in the grave. When your opponent activates an effect while you control Chimera the Flying Beast, you can banish this card from your field or grave and negate that effect. So insane value that this card provides, definitely a 3 of. Same thing with Gazelle, the King of Mythical Claws here. Just when this card is normal or special summon, you can add a level 5 Fiend monster or 1 Chimera fusion from your deck to your hand. So it's a way to just directly go into your Chimera fusion, and the deck kind of just synergizes really well, where you can search out everything very seamlessly. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard as material for a fusion summon, you can add 1 illusion monster from your deck to your hand. And even though there aren't that many illusion targets right now, as right now we have Mirror Sword Knight and we have Coder here, but once they add new support here, it's just gonna, this card's only gonna get better. It's just a generic illusion support, and yeah, it's an amazing card at that. And then 3 copies of Cornfield Kodo. So this card, I think definitely a 3 of, because it lets you go into your 1-card starter. You're able to discard this card, add a monster that mentions Chimera Fusion. So you really you want to just search out Mirror Sword Knight. When you search out Mirror Sword Knight, then you can just go into your 1-card combo. And this card, of course, provides value while it's in the grave. If your opponent activates a card or effect that targets while you have this card in your grave, you can banish from the field or grave and negate that effect. And if you do, destroy it. So again, value on value. These cards are just really amazing. We saw that when they were first announced, and they go really well with this small Albaz package here. And yeah, you can definitely expand on that, expand the Albaz package, but I decided to just keep it pretty small and just keep it mainly focused on the Chimera monsters. And we run 2 copies of Fallen of Albaz, at least 2 copies of Fallen Albaz, just so you have that ready. And then we have 1 copy of the Tri-Brigade Mercourier. So this card, when your opponent activates a monster effect while you control a fusion monster that mentions Fallen of Albaz, quick effect, you can send this card from your hand or face up field to the grave, negate that effect. So it's a monster negate built in, and it's a hand trap that's for this archetype. So amazing, you definitely want to run 1 copy of it. Kit here is your way of searching out your branded fusion. Then we have 2 copies of Edgem Chain. This card, upon discarding, you can add yourself a Fright for card. So this is an easy way to go into your Fright for Patchwork. Just go into your polymerization, get a lot of searchability out of this card. Even when you use this Edgem Chain to fusion summon, you can use that in order to search out the patchwork. Just a lot of synergy that this card provides. 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Effect Veiler as your hand trap of choice. Just great hand traps here. Just they have been working really well for me. If you guys want to change that, go for it. And of course, we have the little Bestial package here in the form of Magnum Hut and Druid's Worm. 2 copies of polymerization. You don't need 3, you don't need 1. I think 2 is just that perfect area there to run. And then Fright for Patchwork, this card has been insane for any fusion deck, as it lets you search out a polymerization and an Edgem monster that provides value upon that. So that's really great to see here. 1 copy of Branded in White. I think it just gives you another way of branded fusing here. There's a combo in particular where you want to have the Branded in White. So it's up to you if you want to run this. If you guys see that combo and you think it's worth running, then go for it. Otherwise, if you're okay with just having the 1 branded fusion as your main fusion for the Fallen of Albaz monsters, then that's okay. And then we have 2 copies of Super Polymerization. We have a lot of targets here, so I think it's just perfect for this deck, and it's always a weird card for your opponent to interact with. I just like having 2 copies of it. Chimera Fusion, this card provides amazing value. A great fusion card that you can use repeatedly. You can repeatedly use this card to just fusion summon. Of course, it has effects where it lets you add it from your grave to your hand, and that is pretty insane, just because if you actually use this card once, you can use the effect, add it back to your hand, and it just gives you so much recursion value. And it's also really searchable, but even then I still like running 3 copies, because it's also a quick play spells, which means that you could fusion summon during your opponent's turn. So again, just an amazing card here. 2 copies of Infinite Impermanence as the other hand trap of choice. Alright guys, before I go to the extra deck, if you guys are enjoying the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We're so close to 1,000 subs, so I'd really appreciate if you guys did that. And here we go with 2 copies of Guardian Chimera. I thought that it was funny that even with Guardian Chimera coming out before this Chimera support, that this deck works really well with it, and it feels like this deck just slipped right in. Yeah, this card has always been really good. Provides so much value, either draws or destructions, and it just works seamlessly with this deck, so 2 copies is really nice here. 1 copy of Chimera the Illusion Beast. This card can give you a way to just finish your opponent basically make your opponent's monster unkillable and just attack and repeatedly attack at it, which is very difficult for your opponent to deal with. 1 copy of the Mirror Jade, the Iceblade Dragon, just an amazing Fallen Valdez card. The new Magnum the Reliever. This card gives you value upon recycling your polymerization or fusion spell cards, and you can see we're stacked on them. So being able to do that, get a draw in, and then you can banish a polymerization spell or fusion spell from your grave, then target a card in the field, destroy it. It's a nice little bonus there as well. 1 copy of Dragostopelia. This could be a great card in case you need a super poly target, but it's also just an imperm built in as a fusion monster. Lubellion here, so you can continue fusing Brigran and Titanclad here. If you happen to send this card to the grave, then you can do something with it, either summon out your Fallen Valdez, or you can add a card to your hand, a Tri-Brigade monster, or of course the Fallen Valdez. And the great thing is that if you want to get your Tri-Brigade for Kier here, that's a pretty great option, just so that you have a hand trap ready during your opponent's turn. And then 1 copy of Lindworm. There's a Rindbrum. There's actually like a combo here that uses this card. It's a pretty amazing card for this, and it's a great branded fusion target for that combo. And it also gives you a way of using Mirror Jade's effect of pitching a fusion monster without necessarily using its effect to banish one of your cards. And then 1 copy of Albion the Branded Dragon. It's just kind of standard branded stuff here that I just run a package of. You can definitely decide what you want to include and what you want to cut, or maybe add more copies of. That's totally up to you. 2 copies of Chimera, the King of Phantom Beast. This card is just annoying for your opponent to deal with during their turn as well. And random discarding during the end phase is really annoying, as they can't really deal with it once you resolve that actual effect. And here we have Garura and Mud Dragon as our super poly targets. And then the side here is if you wanted to increase, I guess, like focus more on the branded package, you could start running Alibur, add like branded opening, stuff like that if you want to really focus on that. But I decided to cut that and just mainly focus here on our Chimera monsters. And of course the Called by the Grave to deal with hand traps if you wanted to do that, and the 3rd copy of Imperm, which I ended up cutting. But if you want to increase the consistency of seeing that card, then you can do that as well. Stay tuned for the combos. This deck is really good. I think there's some really good combos to show you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.